comes a time in every war-torn boxer's career where they come to a profound moment of clarity. The realization that continuing down the same path only leads to the perilous fate towards being punch-drunk. For Jaime Munguia, this reckoning is inseparable from both his lineage and his storied tradition of Mexican-style boxing. This fighting spirit runs deep within his veins. Munguia is a bulldozer in the ring, driven by an unyielding instinct to only press forward, refusing to never retreat or relent until his opponent submits. For him, boxing is less a display of elegance, but rather a crucible of grit. While the ruthless style has carried him thus far, the harsh truth remains. A fighter's success depends on their ability to adapt and evolve. In 2024, Munguia suffered a devastating knockout loss to Bruno Surace in what became the upset of the year. Since then, he has changed trainers and is now under the watchful eye of Eddy Reynoso. In his rematch with Surace, the imprint of his new trainer became unmistakably clear, shaping Munguia's once raw aggression into a more refined and calculated pressure fighter. The ferocity remained, but it was now tempered by a newfound discipline, greater attention to defense, distance, and ring generalship. Whereas in previous fights, aside from the initial feeling out phase, Munguia would dive head first into the fire with little regard for what came back at him, dragging opponents into the trenches and often relying on sheer grit with the mentality of taking two to lane one. He now fought with a newfound sense of patience.
Keep digging at the biceps.
And Sergio, we spent part of last week talking about...
One of the most striking changes in Munguia's performance was his measured entry into the pocket. He meticulously established his range, matching Surace step for step, all while maintaining a disciplined guard. This not only allowed him to exert constant mental pressure, but also positioned him just outside of Surace's range, ready to close in distance and engage on his own terms. Defense from range is one thing, but what truly caught my eye was Munguia's ability to recover from missed punches and bad positioning. In the first fight against Surace, Munguia chose to sit in the pocket after engagement, looking to follow up with more punches with little regard for head placement or range reset.
Down to the body again with the left hand for Munguia.
In the rematch, when Munguia overcommitted and found himself caught in a pocket, he was able to tuck his head in. Even when he completely missed, Munguia showed discipline, tightening his guard to recover and using his jab defensively to disrupt Surace's attacking lane. He even broke defensive patterns by pulling out of the pocket to reset range. There were adjustments in Munguia's offense as well. In his first fight against Surace, he pressed like a bulldozer, using some head movement and a few jabs to find his position before unloading with wide, aggressive combinations. This approach not only became predictable for Surace to defend, but also left Munguia exposed during his recovery, especially when he fell out of position. In a rematch, Munguia worked more patiently behind his jab and limited his combinations to 2 or 3 punches before resetting. By relying on his jab, he was able to set up his power while avoiding unnecessary steps forward. This allowed him to hold his range from a safer distance and prevented him from overreaching and falling into a bad position. Because it is, if Surace wanted to counter, he would have to step in to close the distance himself, giving Munguia enough time to react and defend.
That right hand well, did eat a nice stiff turn. Good left hand to the body there.
Just waiting to counter with that overhand hook around the guard. That's going to be his money.
Toiling in obscurity in France, if not getting a fairly late notice opportunity. And respectfully, he was basically a club fighter in France. His level of confidence effects of the knockout here with Jaime Munguia. Much more selective on Jaime Munguia, closing the gap. Pulled back with his hands down. And it was sort of an unusual sequence that he got caught with. Or like a Willie Wise who upset Chavez Sr. And they have one big night.
The few moments Munguia did unload, he made sure Surace was in a vulnerable position, with his back pressed against the ropes, where it was difficult for Surace to generate any real power to fire back.
Munguia throw it to the body instead of the top. See, just like that. That
kind of goes into that shell to keep those arms over the midsection.
Eddy Reynoso's influence on Munguia was unmistakable. The renewed focus on his ring generalship led to patience, control, and defensive awareness, allowing Munguia to redeem himself and avenge his brutal knockout loss. The most noticeable change was his discipline. He left behind much of his wild, desperado-esque approach that previously defined his earlier fights. Getting past a devastating defeat was vital for his mental confidence. Munguia is still relatively young at 28 and still has time to refine his style. All in all, the true test lies not in moments of ease, but in the gauntlet of adversity. Will Munguia remain true to his newfound discipline, or will he be drawn back into his familiar habits? Time, as always, will be the final judge.
toughness.
It has Jaime Munguia.